Hi, everyone. Mitch from PickDogs.com. Sunday, March 19th, 2023. You're here my last day on the road. Here with your live show. We're live 7 days a week, 365 days a year. No excuses, just free picks. I tell you, these road shows, nothing fun about it. Using this software I don't like to use and all that kind of other stuff. But whatever it takes, we're all about the content, getting those picks to you. Sometimes it's pretty, sometimes it's not so pretty, but it's always there. We just keep showing up. Speaking of showing up, we got Ron Romanelli leading off today's show. And this is called picking up where we left off because Ron was last yesterday, first today. And so it's just all continuous around. Ron, your big play yesterday was Northwestern. And I mean, you probably had some people like, I know you're like this. I'm the opposite, right? It's like if my team's losing early, I still got a chance. If my team's up early, we got this thing. You're kind of the opposite. Your team is like, oh, we're dead. It's like, he gets on the train to negative town, but he knows he's still there. But
I like the reverse jinx.
Yeah, Northwestern, they kind of didn't really care. They battled back and got that cover for you on your jam session play. It's another crazy day in March. I mean, that Texas game, I had Texas and I still don't know what the hell happened. I do not know I don't understand how it's a foul on a 3-point shot when you have a 7-point lead with under 20 seconds to go. I mean, how does that even happen?
Yeah.
I mean, was it even a foul? I'll tell you one thing. They did not show the replay.
No.
They did not show the replay.
Yeah, they'll do that when it doesn't matter as much, late in the game. But they showed a replay in the UCLA game when they got fouled by down the 3-point shot. So yeah, that was a tough one. I know a lot of people got the push there in that Texas game, but yeah, I mean it was a great day of hoops yesterday. It was some exciting game. I can't believe Auburn had a great first half. They were up by 10 in halftime and they lose by 17. I mean, it just goes to show you where in March, these leads are never safe. And NIT, CBI, the leads were going all over the place yesterday. So Michigan blew the lead late against Vandy. So
how impressive
no lead is
Princeton?
safe. Oh, unbelievable. I mean,
how
this
impressive was that?
Yep. I mean, scoring 78 points. They just
you
gotta watch out for
them.
Yeah. I mean,
from start to finish. Missouri never had a chance. I mean, They were just dominated.
Yeah, they beat them at their own game and killed them on the glass. Tons of offensive rebounds. It was just a great game. I mean, they just the same thing against Arizona. They just beat them at their own game, and their defense is looking so strong to hold Missouri and Arizona to under 65 points each. I mean, if you play defense and you hit your threes, you can beat anybody in the country. Princeton's doing that so far. So. Who knows where they can go after this.
At the beginning of the season, we all loved the Hogs, and it was kind of the Hogs we were expecting to see yesterday.
I know.
They were down early against Kansas. They could care less. Yep. They could care less. And when push came to shove at the end of the game, these guys played like they knew they had this thing, that they could beat these guys. They're looking like that Final Four team that we thought they were going to be at the beginning of the season. I mean, and Musselman, I mean, how about this guy running over to the crowd, taking his shirt off and leading them in the
like the U.S. soccer, the women's soccer.
It was. I mean, in a lot of cases, coaches would be reprimanded, and I don't think at Arkansas they really care.
No, they loved it. Yeah, it's like the big headline. But although it seemed as deemed as this big upset, I don't think anybody's shocked. At the beginning of the season, if you would have said Arkansas beats Kansas in the tournament, we would have said, oh, okay. And the only thing that says Arkansas is an 8 seed is the number next to them. We know that's a much better team than that number. So
this is where seeding. I always say second round seeding is already out the window.
Yeah.
And this is where we also see 2 number ones are gone. A lot of people think Kansas is going to win this whole tournament. They're gone. I thought Houston and Alabama very much looking like number 1 seeds, though. I mean, they are, I think, to me, I expected Houston at the beginning of the season to kind of be there. But I thought so, but to me, it makes Alabama's performance all that much more impressive because this is a team we've seen, not so much. And today we see a few more teams in action that we saw earlier in the season, not, play in out of conference like UConn,
Mhm.
where they played out of conference big. And it's like, are they going to be able to keep that same kind of thing? Because if they can, there may be, there may be cutting down the nets. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
they have that much talent.
Yep. They got their chance now,
Yeah, they have their chance. Well, anyways, what do you got for us today? There's a lot. I mean, this has been, March Madness has been a tough tournament. For me, it's been one of the tougher betting March Madnesses that I've ever had.
Hmm.
I've
Yeah.
struggled out there. It's been the clown. Mitch has been the clown show. I mean, I went 500 yesterday, 2 wins, 2 losses, and a push, and I felt like I got my teeth kicked in.
Yeah. Sometimes you feel like that when, especially if there's a bad beat thrown in there.
I don't publicize our other people in our industry too often, but BR Betting did a great Instagram clip, a clown walking into the circus, doing the balloon animal saying, "This is me walking into the book betting today's college basketball action." And that's exactly how I feel on some of these games, when it's just like, I had Furman against San Diego State, and I'm just saying to myself, what the hell was I even thinking? It's like,
yeah. I saw somebody on Twitter said they're 0-10, and then they were like 2-16. It's like, oh my goodness.
I just got crushed.
Yeah, luckily I've been able to escape those. I went 2-2 yesterday, but so far so good. Nothing crazy. I think 3-2 the first 2 days. So in the tournament, so I'll take that. I think the first round is always the toughest round, and then as we get deeper in the tournament, I think it gets a little bit easier. But the lines get sharper, so it's always pros and cons. But I'm looking at a CBI game and for today's card. Tarleton and Radford. Tarleton's proved they can play neutral site games. They played 3 neutral site games in the tournament at the beginning of the season. They beat a really good Belmont team by 8 points. Then they beat an ACC team in Boston College by 16 points. They were getting, I think, 6 points in that game as a dog. They win by 16. Then they play an NCAA tournament team in Drake, and they only lose by 7 points at the neutral site. Really competitive game there. Then they go, this year in the WAC tournament, they took down UT Rio Grande Valley in that first round. So they have 3 neutral site wins. They're playing pretty good basketball. At the end of the regular season, they had a nice win over Utah Valley, who's one of the better teams in the WAC. And I think the WAC overall much stronger than the Big South this season. So Tarleton and Radford, 2 good defensive teams. I think Tarleton's played a much tougher schedule. I like the fact that Tarleton forces a lot of turnovers. They can score on the fast break because of it. They get to the free throw line. And when you look at Radford on the other end, they were limping into the conference tournament. At one point, they were 10-2 in conference play. Then they lose 4 of 5 games. They lose to some teams you wouldn't expect, teams like High Point, and they lose in that conference tournament to Campbell. I don't like the way Radford's playing down the stretch this season. I think Tarleton's the much better team, and we're getting a really good number here, only having to lay 1 point, 1.5 points. So I'd rather just take the money line here to avoid a push or a bad beat at 1.5. So give me Tarleton. I'm going to take them on the money line.
One of those ones, tough conference schedule versus a little bit not as tough conference schedule type games. The WAC is just extremely tough, and to put it in perspective, how tough the WAC has been a few years, for the last few years. If you watch the Texas opening round game against Colgate, Sir Jabari Smith played 5 years at New Mexico State before playing at Texas. It's like, that's how good that conference was. He goes into the NCAA tournament for the Horns and just hits threes like it's nobody's business. And here he is as a prominent player for Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of the go-to guys, and he was in the WAC last year. It's like, that's how good that conference is. So Tarleton State, we know that Jay Briggs, his girlfriend went to Tarleton State, so he spent a lot of time at Tarleton State. I love that bit. And But I think today's a great card. Of course, my Canes are in action today as well, and so I'm excited about today's card, especially. Last year we played in the same time slot, so it worked out well for us then. Anyways, what do you got cooking today for your as far as you go? I know you got your jam session $15 play.
Not the jam session. I'm not Jay. Bank shop best bet.
Bank shop breakdown.
Yep. I got my bank shop best bet. We've cashed all 3 of those in the tournament so far. Looking to do so again today. And then I've got 2 other plays, so you can grab them all in a 3-pack as well. Looking to keep rolling in college hoops. We've had a great season thus far.
Yes, I think I think what kind of sums it up for Ron there, different from a lot of cappers, on UCLA in one game, right against them the next game. Just
Yep.
no loyalty. I don't care if I cashed on and then I'm going to cash on them against them. And the next time works out for me, I'll go right back. And that's what you need to be able to do to be a good capper. Be immune. You owe nothing to them for the cover last time. And you're not a fan. You're here to make some money and beat the books.
Yep. And I actually have UCLA in my bracket pool as my champion, so I needed them to win the game, but just not cover, which is exactly what they did. So I'll take it.
I gotta say, Mick Cronin's doing the best coaching job of his entire career.
I know. Got to give him credit.
I mean, he's one crappy ass coach to be coaching this well.
Really
is.
Especially with no Clark in the lineup, they've looked real strong. I think they're definitely a contender right now.
Big injury yesterday in the game.
Yeah, tough one to watch, man.
Yeah, so we'll see how that works out. I didn't hear any reports, but didn't
not
look
looking good. No.
All right, Ron. Thanks for joining us. Of course, you see Ron every day doing the Bank Shop Breakdown. I think we have everyday hoops this week in college coming up. So I think I'm going to guess tomorrow's is probably going to be a little light. People expecting 5 picks from me, even though there's only 4 games.
They'll get 2 and
4 games. Well, there only is 4 games. Well, why don't you put in Alabama versus whoever? It's like, because who knows what's going to happen. All right, Ron, thanks for joining us. Of course, we'll see you here at Pick Dogs. You can always get Ron's premium picks in the premium area. That's Ron Romanelli talking college hoops. Next in, we're going to bring in Al Ninos. Al Ninos, what's up? Number 1 on the leaderboard for the weekly, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. How you doing, Mitch?
Hanging in there, man. I'm last day on the road, so I'm ready to go home. It's been a long trip, just the way that it worked out for me this time. And, a couple different cities and just everything going on. But, back home today.
Nice. I hope you have a safe trip.
Me too. Thanks. What do you got cooking for us today?
A little NBA coming right back with another pretty big dog here. We're gonna look at the Raptors taking on the Bucks. Pretty tough matchup for them on the back-to-back, but they've been playing much better basketball. You just mentioned how Ron went with a team one game, then against them the next. Well, the Raptors are a team I don't think I've backed much this season, but I think we're getting just enough points to do so in this situation here. The Bucks have been great all season long, but with the rest advantage, just 7-8-1 against the spread. The Raptors are 6-4 against the spread on no rest. So, they tend to show up in these spots, and I think they do pretty well in this matchup. Let me see, they're also 5-1 against the spread in the last 6 meetings in Milwaukee. So a matchup they do pretty well in, and getting almost 10 points, I think, is too good to pass up on here. I also would look at them in the first half as well, getting 5.5 points in the first half. Doesn't look like a bad look to me. If you do like the Bucks, best I can give you to back them here would be laying 3 points in the first quarter. But other than that, I like the Raptors to keep it close everywhere else.
Oh, of course, I don't like the Raptors too much, but there we go. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Raptors. They've just been inconsistent all season long, and to me, it's like there's other places I'd rather be with my hard-earned money than on the Toronto Raptors. I could fade the Raptors and the Maple Leafs till the cows come home, and maybe I'm the anti-Romanelli in that one, where it's like maybe I just can't get off of it. But I'm gonna stick with the Bucks.
2 teams I like to go against too in most cases, but I don't know. It just seems like a pretty good spot here, despite looking like a tough spot on their back-to-back on the road in Milwaukee.
You've been red hot. What do you got for sale today?
Got my $15 best bet in the NBA. Got a 3-pack in the NBA, 3-pack in the with my best bet NBA, NHL, and college basketball, and extra play for everyone in the long-term passes.
All right, Al. Well, thanks for joining us, and be sure to check Al's premium picks over at Pick Dogs. See you on the drive through.
All right, see you.
Al Ninos. Next up, we're gonna do Wayne Scott. Wayne, how's it going?
What's going on, Mitch?
Duke going down yesterday against Tennessee. I tell you, I thought that Tennessee actually got the better calls in that game. After I thought that Duke would definitely get them, but a lot of the monkey off the back for Rich Barnes in that game, and I thought Duke just, I don't know, they just looked
Duke. They were playing
off.
like babies, man. They were expecting that call. They was getting elbowed a little bit and falling to the ground and expecting those calls. And like you said, they weren't getting them. You had to come to play once you're not getting them calls. That's kind of how I seen it. They started off decent, but throughout the game, Tennessee just wore them down.
They never were able to string together a couple of points in a row. Like they were never, like, win or lose, you expect Duke to have a run of 8 to 10 points every single game. They never were able to do that in that game. The Tennessee just kind of locked them down, and the refs let them play like they did in every game in the tournament so far. So it wasn't just that game that they were, just letting them mug them or whatever. If you saw that Memphis game against Florida Atlantic, I mean, that was aggravated assault.
Even that Arkansas game, they were banging yesterday. Arkansas and Kansas, they were banging.
How good were those players in that game? That Arkansas Kansas
awesome,
game.
Man.
What do you think?
Awesome.
Like when you look at maybe even the WAC games where we love it, right? The WAC, and you look at maybe like a Stephen F. Austin versus Utah Valley. You look at Kansas, Arkansas, man. It was like, oh my God, man! It was like everyone out there was just like, it was like better than the McDonald's All-American game, right? It was like every guy, and it was just like and on both ends of the court, like challenged on every shot and making these shots, like in the clutch, like one after. It was, oh man, that was one of the best college basketball, like athleticism and all that other stuff I've ever seen.
I'm with you, man. I was excited to watch it, man. And them boys are hitting big shot after big shot. And it's incredible, man. Like you said, when they're contested, I mean, it's one thing to hit big open shots, but when you're contested, you spinning off and hitting winners, it was a great game, man.
I mean, it was jaw-dropping, right? I mean, because there was other games going on at the same time. And, I was in the sports book, and everybody was just dialed in, on that game because, not necessarily because the larger bets were there, because it was actually one of the more competitive games. So it's not one that, we had Arkansas money line, a little bit, but not, we didn't go crazy or anything. Yeah. And it's like, but man, it was awesome.
No, I definitely enjoyed it. Definitely. I even enjoyed that Houston Auburn game, just the back and forth, how Auburn came out fighting.
I thought that game, the last 5 minutes of that game, Houston really showed something, that they have that other gear. Kelvin Sampson is ridiculous. And also Auburn maybe just didn't have the conditioning that Houston had. But I think that the final score was almost unfair to Auburn for how well that they played for the bulk of that game.
I definitely agree with you.
What people will see, as far as final score compared to what the game actually was.
No, I was definitely competitive early. Yeah, Auburn just kind of seemed like they kind of just lacked the depth, like you said, and tired out. Houston is a tough team, man. They coming at you from all angles, guards, big man. They hitting you right in the mouth. You better be prepared at every position going against Houston.
It's just, we're at that point in the tournament where everybody is good. So it's like, we're seeing the stars come out, the big time players showing up, and in that Arkansas game, it's like 5 guys on the court. They all want the ball, they all want it, but they're all willing to give it up. And then at the end, Council, hitting the free throws, and he's not. The crazy thing is on almost any other team, he's the star, right? And this is like maybe the 3 or 4 guy on this team. That's how good that team is, right? I mean, because we've seen like great all-star teams like that before, like Kentucky, but I've never seen it like that, where it was like, I mean, those Kentucky teams, the year where we had 2 starting fives, I mean, that was one thing, but it's like this team is just, I mean, it's crazy good, peaking at the
Definitely.
right time. So they are very dangerous.
I would hate to have to play them, man.
I would hate to too because I couldn't. They'd run right past me. But anyways, so what do you got for everybody today?
But jumped on a big spread today, but I think it's well worth it. I'm gonna go to the game between Atlanta Hawks and San Antonio, and I know a lot of people looking at San Antonio playing decent in these last ones. They actually covered their last time out against Memphis at home, 120-126, I believe, and they're 4-6, but they're 4-6 ATS. One thing I noticed about San Antonio, they actually play better against defensive teams, but against offensive teams like Atlanta Hawks, they actually struggle against these teams. They struggle to keep up scoring with them because they're not a good defensive team. And it's just one of these games where I think throughout the totality of the game and towards the end of the game, Atlanta just smokes them in this one and covers this. Atlanta is 4-4 on the season, so they're not terrible when they're at the minus 8.5 to 10.5. And when San Antonio's getting plus 8.5 to 10.5, they're 7-2. So they have a losing record at that. Atlanta, they don't turn the ball over. They're I just think this is time for them to turn around. They're 8th in the East. They got the Raptors right on their tail, and I just love them in this spot today. They're 4-0 against San Antonio. They're top 5 at home when it comes to scoring, and they're top 5 in their last 3 when it comes to scoring. But they're top 3 in the road for scoring, so they have no problem with scoring. Their problem is obviously their defense. But when San Antonio benching all these players, I looked at this injury report, and these guys ain't trying to win. And I just think it's one of them games where Atlanta turns it on. And since they always stomp on San Antonio, I don't see nothing changing today with how the lineups are set up and just past history. I don't like laying points like this, but out of all these, there's a couple big spreads. Atlanta's the one that I feel more comfortable laying it with.
So these bottom 4 teams, the Hawks, the Spurs, the Pistons, and the Rockets, right? The worst 4 teams in the NBA record-wise. The Rockets are playing pretty well, recently. Yeah. It's like,
definitely.
But they seem to have the least on their roster, of anybody. So you got to figure, man. If they can get a couple guys, they got picks, right? So it's like, you got to figure, man. They might be my circle team. Thankfully, it's not the Timberwolves again. They just bust me up every single year. They're always my circle team. They're great after everyone's been eliminated and playoff spots have been decided. The Timberwolves, that's when they start playing. So they're always my team for next year. But I think this year it could be the Rockets, man. They were kind of like, it reminded me a lot of the Sixers when the Sixers were getting a ton of points, a few years ago.
You definitely got to be careful, and I kind of, I agree. Even though I'm picking on them today, I kind of like San Antonio's roster. I mean, like they're benching 3 or 4 contributors that can come in and help them cover this game. But I like what they've been building too. So
they got the most important guy on the bench, so that always helps. That always helps.
Yeah, that's true. So. Yeah, man. Keep an eye on both of these teams, man. Don't just jump on these spreads just because these teams are bad, because they'll come around and smack you in the head every once in a while. Like you always like to say, man. All these teams got good players. Whether they're don't just always look at the record. But yeah, I agree with you, man. Rockets definitely have some talent. They don't play night in, night out, perfect, but good ball. But they definitely have talent.
Well, what do you got selling? What are you selling today over at Pick Dogs?
Pick Dogs. I got my Make It Take It best bet in college basketball today, and I got a 3-pack easy side up early game. I got 1 game in NBA, 1 game in NHL, and 1 game in college basketball. I actually have my first 3 play NHL day. I love 3 NHL games that I'm on. So like you, Mitch, it's tournament tired of going 500 and a little under 500 with this college basketball. So focusing a little more on hockey today. Only 2 college basketball plays, 2 NBAs, and my first 3 hockey days. So wish me well on that one.
Yeah, yesterday it was, yesterday was just one of those ones where it's like, I think if I could have gone back and redid my premium picks, it was like, thankfully I got a lot of them as free picks, out to everybody in the videos, but on the show and stuff. But man, that's like, I don't know. It's like,
man, it's tough. You think you're
like,
reading
how in the
it
hell
right?
it's like, how in the heck is Cincinnati only favored by 1.5 in that game? Can't I put that pick in 6 or 7 times? Like I bet it. It's like, the heck's up with that. Well, anyways, Wayne, we'll see you on drive through and around with Jay and Jam session in the afternoons sometimes, and all the other good stuff. We appreciate having you here, and thanks for joining us.
No problem, Mitch. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You have a safe trip as well. All right, Pick Dog family.
Let's do it. That was Wayne Scott. That was as good insight. He's big on a lot of the small schools in his region, which next year I think we're really going to dial into that. Got Jovan with us. Jovan was going to give out Alabama on the show yesterday. Did you give that as a premium? Is that what happened?
Nah, and I should have put it in. I knew that was a lock, but yeah, I chose a couple other plays that should have been left off on the cutting room floor. Let's just say that.
Well, I had well, I didn't put it in as a premium, but I bet on Furman yesterday, and we did the show and the game started, so I'm in my hotel room, and I'll tell you, before the second half didn't even start, I didn't even take the ticket with me to cash in at the sports book. I had it crumpled up on the table just in case, but it was like I had it crumpled up. It was like basically I was ready to throw it in the garbage can. I'm like, you know what? I better just wait, but I didn't bring it with me. I was like, I'm going to carry it around with me.
Yeah, hey, listen, the decision between taking off a game and putting on the game, it bit me in the ass yesterday. I put on Duke, took off Arkansas.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I did the exact same thing.
I what was the other one? The Alabama one I took off. And it was a game that shouldn't have been on the previous side. That was on Furman. I put on Furman, but I had the under in Furman, so it was like it's a wash on that one. So that's just a couple of I had the winners, just didn't have the premiums right where I wanted them. Ended up and really what ended up costing me with an even day as opposed to a losing day was the referees calling a late foul against UCLA, turned the winner into a loser, and that's just how it goes.
It happens. So what do you got cooking for everyone today?
We're gonna go to another gonna be a hard-fought battle. MSU versus Marquette, Izzo versus Shaka Smart. Two great coaches in my book, two of my favorite coaches in college basketball. And in this one, I want to be on the underdog side, given that the fact that there's this point spread is at 2.5. It might be approaching 3. Who knows? But you haven't seen any 3s out there yet. But these two teams, they play gritty, they play hard. Marquette all season, they just find a way to win close games. They had a spin where they won 3 2-point games in a row, and that's the kind of the reason why I'm on the MSU side. If Marquette's going to win, it's going to be a real close one. It's going to be within 3 points. And when you're dealing with Sparty, I like their guard play. And they're the better defensive team in my book. One of the things about Marquette is that they don't really play too good defense. They just find a way to win. They make winning plays. But at the same time, MSU does too. Sparty does too. They have a long history of it, no matter who's on the court. So I think Hauser's going to have a big game in this one. And, I think it's last team with the ball wins. Whether it's a tie ball game or a 1-point game, the team with the ball, wins the game. That's how I think this one's going to go. So with all that said and done, give me the points with MSU.
Yeah, you have two really good coaches in this one. Izzo played the big out-of-conference schedule to start the season, so he's not going to see things in the NCAA tournament that he didn't see, earlier this year. And, Michigan State, it's surprising their stats, how good they are at some of these things that just haven't really shown, translated to wins in a lot of these games. So it'll be interesting to see if this is the time that they do. They're actually a really good statistically shooting 3-point team. They're also really good at defending the three. Well, Marquette's hideous at defending the three, which is odd for a Shaka Smart team that you think is pressuring no matter where the guy is on the court. So, this one, the numbers kind of don't dictate maybe what you would think about these teams. And this should be a good one. I mean, it's Big East, Big Ten. It's all the things that you kind of want in the NCAA tournament. Shaka Smart and Izzo, this one's going to be a war, and, having points in your back pocket. Now, I'm seeing some comments here, and I've seen this one a lot. So I'm seeing Miami money line here. And I'm a Kane fan, right? I mean, so we know that. But to me, at a 1.5, that's not where I'm money. So,
yeah,
everyone is different. Everyone is different. But to me, to get plus 105 or 110, as opposed to getting a 1.5 in your pocket against a team that is going to get all the calls in the world in this game, is that worth it? I mean,
yeah. Well, for me, with sports betting, you got to know where the value lies, and the value doesn't lie with minus, plus 1.5 or minus 1.5.
No.
Matter, money line play. If you're gonna take games on the money line, it all depends, because sometimes the money lines on the plus side, it fluctuates. If you might have a +3, and the money line is 115 or something crazy. You know what I'm saying? Or you might have it, as at $1.25. So it all depends. It's not. I don't know exactly how the odds makers do it, but sometimes it fluctuates. $10 here and there, but you gotta. I mean, with a 1.5, I wouldn't do that. On this particular game, it's just that there's no value in that.
Yeah, it's like, to me, it's if anything, if it's 115 and minus, I think Miami's only minus 105 on the juice on that game. So it's like, if you're betting $100, you bet 105, you're getting even money there. If you bet $100, you're getting 105. So it's $10, $5 to $10 differential, $7.50. You split the difference. It's like, that's not worth it. Even on $1,000, it's $75. And it could be a difference maker. If you went to buy the points in the other direction, it would be way more expensive than what they're willing to pay you. So,
exactly. On a game like this, if you're gonna if you want to bet a money line on the Hurricanes, you're probably better off waiting until end game and waiting for them to be down a few points, and then jump on it. That's really the way to go. Unless they're gonna come out the gate, guns blazing. But yeah,
my best bet yesterday. My best bet that I made yesterday. Not my best bet that I gave out. My best bet that I made yesterday. I had the app, and I was able to in-game Texas when they went down against Penn State, and they went to the timeout. So they were down 3, and they went to the timeout, and I got them at plus 134. And to me, it wasn't like a giant money line, but it was enough. 134 on my money at that point in a game that you knew you were going to win. It's like,
exactly. And that's the game within the game. You see a line, you like a team, you want to take a money line, you think they're gonna win. The point spread is low, whatever. So you just have to wait. You could take the game, take the game pregame, and then see what happens. If they get down, you jump on it. You jump on the money line, and you let the chips fall where they may. Forget about how they're playing starting off. If you like them, stick to your guns. You know what I mean? So that's some certain games. That's how I see it. When I'm dead set, or I know this team, I want this team, or I believe this team's gonna win, and then they're down quick. That's probably some of the that's gold right there.
Arkansas yesterday, they were getting blown out of the building.
Exactly. And I usually do that more in the NBA, because you have teams that are down 20 points or whatever. Now you could play with it, because let's say halftime, let's say the Celtics, they're down 23. The the full game all of a sudden becomes plus 15 or whatever. You know, you bang that, and then if you think they're gonna come back and win, it's a whole lot of plus money right there. You know, so just giving you certain scenarios of how to bet it.
Duke was the opposite for me yesterday. Like I was on Duke for the game, and I thought those in games and the halftime line were just. I'm never on the train to negative town. I'm always like, hey, I bet the full game. I gotta wait for the full game. You know, I'm not gonna get on it. But at Duke, 10 minutes into the game, I said, I am dead. I am done here. It's like I am not going to win this game. You know, I saw exactly what Wayne was saying. They got punched in the gut and they fell to the floor. Man, that was their strategy was to just start falling down. It's like that's not gonna work. You know, what's gonna happen is you're gonna get dunked on. Is in the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, with that game in particular, you saw it. That Tennessee's game plan was to get real physical, borderline, ejection physical with their big men, with the main guy. Forget his name. The center from Tennessee.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How about the pressure? Like when Duke tried to even just take a 3-point shot, two guys on them. It was like, no way are we going to give you an open shot. You're going to work for every single thing, and it's like if they call us for a foul, so what?
Yeah,
we don't care.
That was the game plan, and it worked. And then you saw it when second chance opportunities on misses. A Tennessee guy comes in, dunks it. Now that gets the crowd into the action, and then that late in that first half, they went out to that lead and never looked back. I was down on the Vols before that game, and I'm still down on them, because they're injured.
Oh yeah,
and they don't have the pieces. If they're facing the offensive team, a real offensive team, they might get boat raced. But in that particular game, I think they saw that Duke was a little soft, and they brought it to him.
I knew I was done. So
I knew I was done too.
Yeah, I didn't chase. I didn't do anything. I said, you know what? Sometimes you got to just say, I got beat. I'm not going to try and get the other side. I'm not going to try anything.
I wish I would have had that thought process on that game, because I did chase, and I was buried in a hole, but I got some of it back. So it's
I was so done. I was just mad at myself for even getting involved. It was one of the games where it was like, it wasn't even I was mad because I picked Duke, because it even almost made sense, but it was like, it didn't make that much sense. And then on the other side, it was kind of just like, I was mad at myself for even getting involved in that game. It was like, why am I in this game when I got Princeton,
right.
Which is who's going to, throw a monkey wrench in that whole Missouri offense. Anyways, what do you got for sale today?
I have a 5-pack going right now. Also have a standalone game, in college basketball, one that I particularly like. I'm gonna put out a 3-pack also in college basketball. We got some NIT acts, so I got a couple of NIT plays mixed in, with the big dance games. I'm also gonna put up a one NBA play that I particularly like. I just haven't had a chance to put it up, but it's a later game, so I'll have that one as a standalone game also.
All right, Jovan, thanks for joining us. Of course, we'll see you all the time here at Pick Dogs, always on top of that yearly leaderboard as well. So be sure to grab his package. As you said, tournament, a little bit of our own selection committee in our head as to what games we pick. So,
right.
It is, right?
Hey, someone needs to tell these college kids that when they're up, 2 possessions, 3 possessions, they don't have to do anything. They don't have to, contest the 3-point shot that maybe they even hit them. But when in college, the referees are gonna blow the whistle. So
seems like they do it at the most inopportune times.
Stay away because there's money on the line.
Absolutely. All right, Jovan, thanks for joining us.
All right.
Jovan thinks that I like that. It's like, yeah, let's just tell these kids, look, I got a very important reason not to do that. We'll go with Rod next. Rod, what's happening?
Not too much, and enjoy my Sunday. Crazy. Listen to you and Jovan talk about the games. Yeah, definitely selection committee in our head because I was with you guys up with Duke, and I'm like, what was I thinking?
Why did I even get involved in this game?
Yeah,
It's
why
like,
did I get involved in
it
this?
wasn't even picking Duke. To me, it wasn't even taking Duke that, which was, which I kind of knew I was on the wrong side by the time the game started. I already figured out I was on the wrong side. But at that point, there's not a lot I can do. But it's like, I didn't have to bet it at the window again, before the game. But once that happened, I didn't reinvest, which, normally I would, but I did not.
I can't bet again.
I'm done.
They're gonna come back. Get in
No,
there.
they weren't going to come back.
No.
They were. That was one.
Yeah.
That was one where the guys I was watching the game with, I just walked over them and I see them in gaming Duke. I'm like, don't do it. We're done. Okay, you're done.
Yeah.
And they're in gaming. They're betting hat. And like, you're done. Just give me the money if that's what you're doing because you're done here. It's over.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you had a good day though overall.
Overall, no, I had a losing day.
You've had a lot of winning days recently.
But not a huge losing day. I lost $5. I was a -5 on the day. So
you got that. See, at $5, you could say I got the entertainment value.
I did, yeah. Hey, it came down if the UCLA doesn't make that foul at the end, we got a winning day. So it's like, yeah.
Well, what do you got cooking today for everybody for a free pick?
We're cooking. We're going to head to the NBA. NBA did us good yesterday with that Raptors over. So we're going to go with Houston and the Pelicans here. For me, it's just Pelicans are on the road. I'm going to fade them. They have not played good on the road this season. And here's another spot where they're on the road. And looks like everybody's hopping up on the Pelicans. Not this guy. Pelicans 7-19 ATS in their last 26 on the road. 3-9 ATS in their last 12 games altogether. And they're also 1-8 ATS in their last 9 after scoring 100+ points in the previous game. Well, don't look now, but this Houston Rocket team has won 3 straight. They're also 4-0-1 ATS in their last 5 games. And the Rockets are a perfect 5-0 ATS after their opponent allows 100 points or more. The last meeting between these teams this year at home, Houston outrighted them. I'm going to take Houston plus the points here in this one. They got a good shot to outright the Pelicans again. Just like they did already this season.
Like I was saying earlier, when we were talking about the Spurs game, I think the Rockets are actually playing pretty decent right now. It's like,
right? Play great hoops right now.
It's like Pelicans.
I don't know the radar. Everybody's disrespecting them still. Wake up. The Rockets are starting to play.
They're not playing too badly.
No.
So what do you got cooking today for everybody as the bounce back from the $5 loss?
Well, over at Big Dogs River, we got a 5-pack. I got a Super Sunday slam dunk 5-pack in college hoops. Looking for a nice bounce back there. I also got a standalone NBA blank check. Absolutely love that play in today's NBA. And then I have 2 plays in the NHL I love. You can get that as a package included with the NBA play as a 3-pack, my Sunday Safe Crackers play. So head on over. Nice little bounce back day. Been rolling right along in all the sports. Have plus money over the last 30 days in hockey, NBA, and college basketball. So don't just watch hockey. We watch as much sports as we can. So jump aboard. Bounce back.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. And I think I was like in the same thing. Like I lost like $20, but I felt like I lost like $1 million. It
did, right? I was like, oh my God, what an awful day. I went back and looked and was like, $5. That's it. Yeah. That's not so bad at all.
I went right through the ringer on that thing. All right. Well, we'll see you tomorrow morning. Should be back on my home base by then. So
nice. Feels good when you get home back in your own bed sometimes after.
Yeah, tell me about it. I'm ready. I just want to pet my dog. It's like after a day like yesterday, I was like, man, I just want to pet my dog.
Exactly right. Sometimes I'm sure he's been keeping your spot warm in the bed, though. Guaranteed.
Yeah, I know he is. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Oh, that was Rod Zwacky. You got next, got Big Al McMorty Al, how's it going today? Yesterday we kind of saw it all in March Madness. It was crazy. I don't know how many games you had a chance to actually watch, but
I didn't get a chance to watch many. I wish I
Wisconsin.
got to watch the Penn State game. I think that would have been a lot of fun if you were on Penn State. But I was putting
God,
my
I had Texas, and I still don't know what happened. I still don't understand it.
but you saw it. I haven't even seen it yet.
But they wouldn't show the replay.
Because that's I was watching ESPN. They didn't show the highlights or anything.
No, they wouldn't show the replay of the foul because there was none.
Oh, that's funny. Oh,
And then it was ridiculous. It was funny because I was in the book and I was talking to people, and it was like I was talking to people and I heard, like, I was in a conversation with 4 people, and one guy had it at 4.5. I had it at 5, and another guy had it at 5.5. And I'm like, this was like with 15 minutes left to go in the game. I'm like, you realize this game's going 5. It's like you could write it down right now. It's 5. It's like they're gonna find a way. It's gonna be 5. It's like, oh man.
yeah.
But I thought that I talked to Wayne about it with Wayne. The Arkansas-Kansas game was one of the best, most athletic. It's kind of like the 1997 or whatever Miami-Florida State game where, like, every player on both teams went to the pros. It was like, oh my God, it was next level college basketball.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable, like how talented. They say 5 guys from that Arkansas team will be drafted in the upcoming NBA draft. The first 2 rounds, 2 guys in the lottery, and Kansas is Kansas. They're going to have their guys too. So, I mean, the game played out like that. It was just contested shots with guys making them. It was just crazy good. But anyways, what do you got cooking for us today?
I'm going to look at the Fairleigh Dickinson game and Florida Atlantic. I think a lot of people are probably going to be on the Owls today, and I understand why. After a team like Fairleigh Dickinson pulls off that big of an upset, it's usually a one and done situation. But I can't get there, not at this price. I just think, it opened at 11 at Circa. It's up to 15.5 at Circa. It's just, too steep. For my money, I think the value is right now on Fairleigh Dickinson plus the 15.5. And, I also think Florida Atlantic's been a bit overvalued all season. So I'm going to look at Fairleigh Dickinson, for technical support. When you take a look at how in the NCAA tournament, how favorites of minus 11 points or more do off a Suat's win, off a Suat's tournament win. They don't do very well. They're 16 and 32 ATS going back to 1997. So, for me, it's just too many points. I'll take them with the Knights, and I'll see what happens.
Yeah. There we go. I don't know. Florida Atlantic just is so athletic. I think they haven't really been given all that much credit by the odds makers this season. They were a dog in their conference final.
They were,
game.
yeah, against
and I mean, this is a 30+ win team. The
I know.
guy that made the game-winning shot against Memphis, and we can talk about I think the 2 most overblown things are the bad play by Virginia and the bad play by Memphis, because it overshot how good of the play was on the other side to get the win. And in Furman, the guy hit the 3 cold-blooded. And in, the Florida Atlantic, this guy jumped like 5 feet over the rim and dropped the ball straight down on an unblockable shot to win the game against Memphis. He was way over the top. I mean, when you're in a school like Florida Atlantic, and this is irrelevant to the pick, but a school like Florida Atlantic, in their location where they're at, which is a hotbed of high school talent in football, basketball, baseball, really every single sport, they are in the center of it all. But you have Florida, Miami, Florida State, all recruiting around you. Then you have FIU, UCF, and USF all in the same area. You get the guys that slip through the cracks. And occasionally you get, like at FIU, you get a T.Y. Hilton. At FAU, you get a Singletary. I think Florida Atlantic got a bunch of those guys this time. It's like they just look really, really good. Fairleigh Dickinson is one of the greatest stories in the history of college basketball. Yeah. This is, I think people, I think they see it as a 16 beating a 1, but they don't understand just how bad this team has been they had 4 wins last year. I mean,
well, I think I actually wrote an article about it yesterday. What a lot of people don't understand is that when you take a look at big upsets, and I took a look at upsets where teams were an underdog of 21 and a half or more points. So going back to 1990, there have been 28 upsets in college basketball where a team was a 21 and a half point or greater underdog. Well, 26 of those 28 occurred at game 16 or before, early in the season, not late in the season. 2 of the 28 occurred late in the season. And the only other one before this one on Friday that occurred after game 16 was when Portland beat Gonzaga as a 22-point underdog in 2003. And now, this one is, and that was at game 25. This one was at game 35 or 36, depending on the team. The reality is that when you get deeper into the season with, more data points, the odds makers get a, better handle on the teams. You don't see these upsets ever. And that's, to me, what made it really impressive was that it was in the second half of the season. And this was the first time in the, 33 years of my database that a team pulled off an upset greater than 22 points, at game, 17 forward. So to me, it was unbelievable.
No, it was bigger than the UMBC beating
much bigger
Virginia. It was bigger than Villanova beating Georgetown in the final. It was.
That doesn't even compare. It does.
It was as big.
I think it was the biggest upset in college basketball history.
Yeah, it was the biggest upset in college basketball history, for sure. It was. It was like, I mean, it just doesn't happen. It just does not happen.
Someone, if you want to make the argument for the Virginia, I mean, the disparity wasn't as great in that game as it was in this game, but the margin of victory was 20 points compared to 5 points.
But it was also Fairleigh Dickinson, who was, I mean, this is a team that we've made fun of for a very long time. I mean, fairly disinterested, and even they make fun of it.
But I mean, they weren't a 4-win team this year. I mean, I couldn't care less what they were a few years ago.
They didn't even win their conference tournament. They got it. They backed in.
But I mean, they lost the championship game by a point. I mean, and everyone knew the rules ahead of time. So the real, if you want to, you could say that they won the conference tournament into the semifinal game because that was for the conference tournament. When they beat.
But they weren't the best team in the conference.
Well, I mean, it's, but, they almost, I don't know if you remember, they almost did the exact same thing to Michigan in 1985. They were a number 16 seed. They were up by 6 points at halftime over the number 1 seeded Wolverines, and they ended up losing 59-55 to Michigan in 1985. They almost became the very first team to win as a 16 seed, back in 1985. So that would have been interesting.
Had some other scares. There's been other scares.
Yeah.
But now it's happened twice. My guess is we're going to see this. This is going to happen. The players are too good. They stay long. It's like, this is just a different college basketball. We talked about this last week and before that. And, it's after the first round of the tournament, especially, seeding goes out the window because there's only good teams left. And we saw that with Arkansas, Kansas yesterday. Arkansas is an 8 seed. This is how much the tournament knows what they're doing, is that they're an 8 seed. It's like, it doesn't even, I mean, they have 2 NBA lottery picks. It's like, and they're an 8 seed. You gotta be kidding me.
So someone was on Twitter and he put in a prop bet. He laid minus 750, and the prop was that all 4 number 1 seeds would win their first round game, and he laid 750. And I think that's a hell of a bet. It turned out it didn't win. But next year, I'm going to look for that prop. And if one of the sports books puts out the, and what 750 is, it basically means that each number one seed has a 97% chance of winning. Well, by my numbers, this was a once in a lifetime occurrence where and also this year that you had 3 out of the 4 number one teams were favored by 22 or higher, right? So it wasn't like Virginia that I think was whatever they were, 19 and a half or 20. But if you get that again next year, I think people might overreact, and I'm going to try to find it and lay around 750.
I think Purdue could have argued that Fairleigh Dickinson should have been the 15 seed, and that Asheville could have been the 16, and they were terrible.
How about Purdue should have been a fucking 3 seed?
I think that's part of the problem is that Mick Cronin had a point, But what do you got cooking for today?
What do I have? I've got my second round game of the year. We hit our first round game of the year on St. Mary's over VCU. So that's my top play today. I've got a triple pack. I've got a CBI game, and I've got NBA, passing in hockey, passing in football.
All right. Well, Big Al, good day yesterday, and looking to string it together. He does a lot of game of the years, but he's got a really good winning percentage in him. So, it's the thing is they're like situational game of the years. I used to kind of be like, man, how could everything be game of the year? But now I get it. That it's like all you're saying is that in this
is my number one play of the second round.
This is the best in this situation that you're going to see this year, right? That's really what
I'm just this is my best second round. People want that. They want to know what is your best second round.
Which is your best one, and however you say it, my best second round pick this year, my second game of the year, like whatever. You're not saying this is like a lock or anything like that. You're saying that.
Or I might be.
Which game do I like the best? This one.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's it. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Al.
Okay, thanks, Mitch. Enjoy Vegas.
I'm ready to go home.
We're actually talking about going there in June, so if you want to come back, we'll meet you there.
It's definitely a possibility. I'm meeting Tony Brown for some Thai food today, so that usually is a good way to end things off.
Which one are you going to?
We go to Let Thai.
Yeah, that's you told me about that. Okay.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Okay.
Tony Brown knows his way around the food, the Vegas food.
He definitely does.
He does.
Tell Tony I said hi.
Absolutely. Thanks, Al, for joining us.
We'll
see you. Al McMorty, and to round it off, we got Jay Briggs without the hat. Been talking about that hairline. It's been all over YouTube on the comments. It's been talking about more than the picks.
They crack me up, man.
Like every little thing, man. It's like, man, where are you going next?
Right, man. They crack me up. So quickly, on what you and Big Al were just talking about, I think we might start to see more upsets. And I think part of the reason to that is we got to look at that transfer portal. I think that's a huge reason to that, because the guy that went off for Fairleigh Dickinson, you got to realize he was stuck in another conference last year. His coach from Fairleigh Dickinson brought all those guys to FD this season. And would you say how many wins they had last year? 4?
4.
So, that just shows you the power of the transfer portal, man. You got to really be paying attention to that. I think we might start seeing bigger seeds fall more often, to be honest. I do.
So the crazy thing is that Brett, who writes our fantasy at Pick Dogs and at Sports Shop Place, he knows the coach of Fairleigh Dickinson, and he texted him back, like before the game. He's like, we got this. He's like, it was like, I'm looking for the email. I was going to read it to you guys. I mean, it's crazy because he sent it. He sent it to me. Yeah. It's like he knows him from something. I forgot what he said it was. And here it is. Said he was the coach at Clarkson when he first went out to college. And he gave him his first job with the basketball team, and he used to play 2-on-2 with them and the assistant coaches every day. That's how he knows them. And he wrote back to me prior to the Purdue game, which I was shocked considering how much I had to imagine what was on his plate. And So he's excited, man. It's like, there's always a connection. So
Always a connection, man. It's a crazy world.
It is a crazy world. What do you got cooking for us today?
Yes, sir. I'm cooking up some NBA. I'm going back to the first game on the board, man. I am tired of betting this Nuggets team. They are in a real life funk. They have now lost 5 of 6 games. I kind of thought this stretch was coming, man, as they got that number 1 seed firmly locked up in the West. They've been kind of going through the motions here recently, but I'm going to lean on them one more time today. I do think they get this one done on the road against the Brooklyn Nets. They're working with revenge, as the Nets did beat them really recently in Denver, believe it or not, where Denver has not really lost much this season. But with the Nuggets in this situation where they've now lost 5 of 6 games, I no longer think they're in that just going through the motions phase. We got to remember, this is still the Denver Nuggets, the number 1 team in the Western Conference, a team that we know can go nuclear at any point in time. And I think this is a bad matchup for the Nets. I know they won the last meeting with Claxton playing pretty well on Jokic, but I think Jokic goes absolutely crazy in this. When he had 35 on 14 of 23 shooting in their last meeting, they fell short. I think we see another big game from the Nuggets today in Nikola Jokic, man. And I think they win this game on the road. The Nets were playing great basketball recently, but they've kind of tailed off as well. They've lost 3 of their last 5. They just got beat by Sacramento, got hammered by Oklahoma City on the road. I think if there's a time to fade the Nets, it's right now. Get back on the Nuggets, as I think they get back on track today.
Yeah, the Nets are tough to figure out too. It's like I thought they would just fall right to the bottom once they made those trades and fall right out of the playoffs, but they're still hanging right in there. And it's like, they're probably gonna be at least a play-in team, if not a regular playoff team at the worst. I mean, I think a lot of people are looking back and saying, well, the Nets are just going to drop back. So, these teams are going to slide in, but it's just not happening. And the Nuggets really not playing well, but
they're going to make it. They're 7 games above Indiana. They're in
they're in.
Yeah, they're in.
They're in at least to play in.
Yeah, for sure.
At least to play in. But not necessarily, they're right now they're in the playoffs.
Yep.
And they have some room there too. So
yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I'm gonna lean on them on the Nuggets one more time, man. I know they haven't been playing their best basketball, but I like taking great teams in bounce back situations. They usually do bounce back. They've been going through the motions recently, but I think today's the day we see the Nuggets be the Nuggets and pull this one out.
Quick 2-second preview on the Mavs Grizz tomorrow with John Morant coming off suspension.
It's a tough one for me because Memphis does go stupid, dummy crazy on their home floor. I don't like fading them there very often. I did last night with the Warriors. It was a bad spot. Thought the Warriors would finally wake up. The Grizzlies have been playing great basketball. It's still looking like my guy Luka Doncic will not play tomorrow. Kyrie.
Really? I thought he was going to play.
It's still looking like he might not play. So, I kind of got to lean Grizzlies. Yeah, if Luka plays, then we should go on a little run. But as of right now,
I think he's going to play. I like the Mavs.
I hope so. I hope you're right. I hope he plays, and I hope we're going to run.
What do you got going on today?
Yes, sir. I have 3 plays in the NBA today, including my $15 NBA Jam Session play. They're all in a 3-pack, and I have right now 2 in college hoops. Probably add 1 more to make a 3-pack in college hoops as well. Had a nice day in college hoops yesterday, 2-0-1. I did catch the push with Texas. I got them at 5.
Me
I'm
too.
with you, man.
I was mad about
that.
It.
Was brutal. That was brutal. They had that cover in the bag.
Mad.
Yeah. But I know it happens. It's March. So you got to watch out for those, man. I'm with you. I don't think it really was a foul either. I don't think
bullshit.
So. But so yeah, I got college hoops and NBA for me today.
By Penn State, it was a clear foul. By Texas is bullshit. Texas bullshit.
For sure, man. For sure. So got a great card today in NBA and college hoops, man. So I'm ready to smash it per usual.
All right, Jay. Thanks for joining us. And thanks everybody for joining us. It's been another great NCAA tournament opening round. Of course, the tournament doesn't end here. Next Thursday, we'll be back. And I think we'll start doing some half times of these tournament games as there's fewer games and it kind of makes more sense to do it. Like the way they do them now, it's impossible.
It's hard,
But starting next week, we'll try and jump on. It's Thursday night, and then of course Saturday. Those games are just solos. The Elite Eight matchups are just solo games, so it'll be halftime of those games, and then Final Four in the finals. So stay on the lookout for that. I'll be on the jam session this week, so we'll see.
Yes, sir. Can I ask you a question right quick before we get out of here?
Let's do it.
Any big dog you're looking at today? I know you.
Oh God, my dog got lost by 100 points.
Yeah, I know.
Yesterday, so let's see what we got today. Hey, it all counts the same, win or lose.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see what we got. I'll take a quick look because there's a lot of games out there. So I did like Romanelli's Tarleton, though. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So
today, there's really not no big dog that I'm loving. Only dog that I like today to win outright, really, in college hoops. I didn't put it in. I probably should have. I think Gonzaga falls today. I'm taking TCU. I think they beat them boys straight up today. I think we've seen Gonzaga at times look kind of pedestrian. TCU can score with the best of them, man. That guy can get hot in miles. Don't look past TCU to end Gonzaga today. We've seen an upset just about every day. It's the one I'm calling today. I'm calling TCU over Gonzaga.
I'm going to take Duquesne against Rice.
I had Razorbacks yesterday over Kansas. I love that one as they beat them outright.
Yeah, I had it out on the show as well. So
so we're gonna go with another one today. Let's go TCU to beat them Zags.
All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Jay will see you in the afternoon. Make it a winning day. Appreciate each and every one of you.